schools, and I realized teachers aren't allowed to teach. They're so bogged down with everything else that a teacher is supposed to do. It's the toughest job in the world, but it's also the best job in the world because you actually get to influence the future of what's going to happen. After a while, I decided I'd work for the government for my whole career so far. I wanted to see what it was like to go out in the private sector. So I got a job with an engineering firm, and I learned more in that 2 years that I worked for the engineering firm than I ever learned in my life. I learned how things work and how things are built. Everybody thinks it just starts, people come in and throw stuff together, and a little while later you have a building. It's really not that way. There's so much more stuff that goes into the quality control to make sure things are safe. In this area we have problems, but they're not the same type of problems that our people that live on the coast have. The people who border the coast, they're more worried about tourism, and they're worried about keeping their places and their beaches beautiful to have people come to them. We live in the inland part of Florida, where the real work is done. And rural problems are much different. And teaching in the schools, I learned what those types of problems are. People are worried about farming. The rural parts of Florida are huge with farming. Well, it's tough to farm anymore. But with the technologies and things that are coming out in the near future, we can actually change things. And we can start to farm energy, which is one of my biggest platforms. Florida is a beautiful place. It's a resource that cannot be replaced. Any place else in the country, we don't have the topography that Florida has. You don't have the land that Florida has. The Everglades are not just a Florida treasure, not just a United States treasure. They're a world treasure. They're just like the rainforest is, or even the beauty of some of the deserts in Asia. They're a special place, and these places need to be protected. But that doesn't mean I'm not for development. Rural counties and rural places need to make up their own choices. I'm for smart growth. I hate the word, I don't like it, it's cliche, but it's really true. And I'm for just what the county did with Lehigh. I think all small rural communities ought to have a grassroots way to decide what their community should be. Then we don't get what happened in Lehigh here. Lehigh grew so fast and we have so many rooftops that we don't have anything else, the infrastructure that's needed. Because then when Lehigh was designed and laid out, it was laid out to get as many houses in the smallest amount of area that you possibly could. And these days we're reaping the benefits of that thinking with anybody here who tries to go up Lee Boulevard in the morning, or who tries to go up State Road 82 in the morning, or if you're even worse than those two, having to travel down State Road 80 in the morning. Any one of those three major arteries that we have bordering Lehigh on the north, the middle, and the south are horrible ways to get anywhere, but it's our only choice. Smart growth makes sure things like that don't happen. I think the rural parts of Florida should have more condensed, self-sustainable communities that are planned out that way. So let's say if Felda decides that they want to develop, then I'm going to be all for getting all the developers there to do whatever they need to do. But one thing is super important about that. The thing that's important about that is growth must pay for growth. The people that live there for 54 years already should not be socked in their wallet because somebody wants to build a gated community down the street from them. These things are happening. I've heard homeowners associations say, we were promised the world and the stars for us to do this. We went through and got it together and did it. The contractor built it, took what he wanted, and left. And now we can't get